Hello there and welcome back to the Cozy Club, my friends. We've got an exciting video for you today as we're going to be talking about and looking more into the Siege on Olympus raid. Now, over the next 2 days, both today and tomorrow, I'm going to have 2 different videos out. This video, we're going to be talking about the Sorcerer's Chosen, the characters that you're going to need to farm for the raid. And tomorrow's video is going to be everything you need to know about the Titans. And there's some big time changes from the Ursula raid. But before we get to today's video and before we rank all of the Sorcerer's Chosen and which ones I recommend farming for you, let's go ahead and talk about what they are and my thoughts on them as a whole. For those of you that don't know, we've got a new faction called the Sorcerer's Chosen. There's 8 new characters that all got refreshed with raid focus kits, and they're going to be required to be able to go against tier 3, 4, and 5, whereas tier 1 and 2 don't require the Chosen. Now, tier 4 and the heroic raid are going to offer Zeus shards, which it makes sense to have it limited a little bit, but I want to be completely candid and talk about the Sorcerer's Chosen before we talk about which ones you should farm and go after as free to play. I want to give my thoughts on this Sorcerer's Chosen and kind of the mechanics behind it. But I do want to let you guys know I am going to be absolutely committed into finding great teams for free to play. And we're going to break down the Chosen and tell you the top ones in the game, ranking all of them on today's video. Now, listen, since I started content creating for this game, I probably have talked about a dream scenario of going against the Titans on Olympus, or attacking Olympus and defending Olympus from the biggest bads within the Disney universe. It's something that I've always wanted to see, and it's finally live, and I could not be more hyped for something within the game. Probably this will be the peak of my hype for something coming into the game, outside of some other new game modes that we'll probably see in the future. But listen, I get that there's going to be characters that are better in the raid, and some characters like Sven weren't even meant to be good in the first raid, and everyone ended up having to farm him to have a solid raid team in the first place. Now, my problem is that it's just a tough pill to swallow, because I get that certain characters are going to have those advantages, but it seems like every game mode is having some type of a monetization wall, and here's the problem with that. It feels like they're restricting content for both free to play and pay to play. There's no one winning in this scenario because you have to use a Summoner's Chosen within the tiers of 4 and heroic tier and tier 3 as well. You're only allowed to have 8 battles. So free to play, they're going to be limited by trying to farm up these new characters, which I will say, guys, they're going to be great in the raid. You're going to be using them anyway. So to say that I'm pissed you have to farm them, I get that. But at the same time, get tier 2 down, farm the new character that you want to go for in today's video, and then you'll have your hands on that character either way, which they're going to be making up a solid team within the raid. And probably you're going to be using these in the best raid teams anyway. However, the fact that free to play has to do that and, you know, grind more characters that they don't have, and then pay to play are now limited and they can't use their wide variety of roster just to maybe make the raid harder. It's just a tough pill to swallow, and I want the raid to be very difficult. I want it to kick our butts. Don't get me wrong there, because either way, the whales and the krakens, they're gonna buy and they're gonna farm and they're gonna get these Summoners Chosen if they had a huge advantage in the raid. That's already gonna be done. But now it's just limiting how many battles that we can do. And spells, we're limiting that on the first raid, and now we have this as well. Now, candidly, I'll say this. The Sorcerer's Chosen, I think, is actually a really cool idea. I think it's awesome that some characters are built to be great within the raid. The one flaw is they're required, and that's just going to limit the overall theory crafting. And what I think is really the strongest point of DSA is having this full team of Disney characters that you can mix and match and put together to build some awesome teams. It just feels like it takes away a little bit from the wonder and amazement by not letting us use the teams that we want to theory craft and the teams that we want to put together. But I will say, I want to get into the raid myself before I put my judgments out. Guys, if there's one thing that the team at DSA, their art team's amazing at, is the just mechanics of the raid. I know this is going to be awesome and it's going to be really sick. And guys, listen, it's like Yelp reviews. No one leaves a good Yelp review. I see my comments all the time. People get angry, and I get that. And, you know, feel free to use the comments to express that. But I also want to see the other side of the coin. There's a lot of good to look here. I'd say it's 98% great. This raid is like a beautiful steak, right? And you're about to go down and there's like some hairs in it. And you're like, come on, you know? So like, it's a beautiful piece and I want to see it more. This shouldn't deter you from playing it by any, you know, matter of the word. You guys are going to want to do the tier 2 anyway to get used to the format and let the whales and the krakens figure out the best characters either way. And now you have new farming projects. But as a whole, I just feel like nobody's winning from this. The free-to-play is not winning, and then the pay-to-play, they're limited on how much they can even use their rosters. Now, with all that being said, Cozy Club, I'm absolutely ridiculously hyped for this raid. I mean, going against the Titans with all the characters, and I'm up for the freaking challenge. I'm gonna put my skills to the test and really come up, and I'm committed to you guys to find some free-to-play teams and pay-to-play and the best teams as well to really demolish, really get to it, and have as much fun as possible in the new game mode. I can guarantee that with the community all together and the new clubs and new people coming in, we're going to find some teams that can really kick butt in this new raid. And it's going to start with the Sorcerer's Chosen. Right now, they might fix it, they might not, but as of now, they're required to be in it. We're going to rise up to the challenge, and we're going to start today's video by ranking the top 8 Sorcerer's Chosen and which ones you should consider farming, because there's 3 or 4 that are well above the other ones. So with all that being said, we've got the question of the day as always. Put down below your thoughts. You know, again, Yelp reviews. It's always easy to say my waiters suck, but when you say the waiter is good, I want to give the hats off for the art team. I want to give a hats off for what I think the mechanics are going to be amazing, but I just don't love the Sorcerer's Chosen. And I really hope if you guys are watching this over there at Glue that you consider maybe lifting that requirement, or maybe put it for the heroic tier and just nothing else. Make the heroic very hard and, like, you know, really have to put people to the test. But open up the rest of them. Give people a chance not to have to use those characters and make them great in the raid regardless. They're already going to be good, but that would be my message to you if anyone out there is listening. Let's go ahead and start today's video. Alrighty, Cozy Club, well, welcome in. We are here at the Sorcerer's Chosen screen. You guys can see all the 8 characters that we're going to be ranking today. Again, if you want to do tier 4 or the heroic raid, you're going to need to bring these guys in. And we're going to go ahead and rank, and I'm going to tell you guys which one are going to be great, not only in the raid, but they got the best refresh, and you can use them in other game modes. So the pro to this is anyone struggling with the Forbidden Depths, it's going to become a heck of a lot easier with these 8 characters with some really strong kits. So let's go ahead and start the rankings. Coming in at number 8, we've got Jack Skellington. Now, my NBC fans, my Nightmare Before Christmas, I know you wanted to see him higher. And keep in mind, we haven't tested these characters out, but out of all the characters, he's looking like probably the lowest on the list. He's kind of like a Dr. Facilier, and he doesn't come with any mechanics that are going to really help you exceed an awful ton. Again, tomorrow we're going to dip into those mechanics, but Stasis, Sleep, Silence, and Polymorph, keep an eye on those 4 debuffs as we talk about today's video, because those are going to be by far the most important. You see, in the new raid, the Tornado Titan is going to summon up a bunch of little minions, as well as some of the other Titans. You could probably defeat them, but the other way you can get rid of them is by inflicting one of those harmful effects, and Jack doesn't have any of those. Now, I will give a nod to him. He does have a pretty good passive, and he's okay in PvP. The offense down consistently might keep the team alive, and the constant fear spreading to all the minions. Again, we don't know what it looks like. That might be good to land those harmful effects. His basic extending is nice as well, but he's going to come in at number 8 as I don't see a whole lot of use for him. Jumping on in at number 7 is Olaf, and I was really glad to see Olaf get touched up. Again, we're going to have refresh videos on some of these characters like we did on Frozone. Olaf, though, I like what he's got going. He's got a basic attack. They've bumped it up to 20% turn meter drain, which is really, really advantageous within the raid. He's going to be able to boost up, you know, Elsa and other wild characters, and his tactics is always going to be pretty clutch. Now, how Charm is going to play an impact, I want to see what that does. We can't put it on the Titans, but maybe the minions. And his passive, getting the ability, you know, he dies and he comes back to life like we see all the time. In the raid, he is never going to die unless he is instant one-shotted. So you're going to have this kind of non-stop snowball throwing, like from Elf Machine, reducing turn meter, putting out, you know, blinds, putting out continuous healing, and you know, giving some support. I think Olaf is going to be a lot better than people think, but he does come at number 7 on this top 8 list. Again, guys, if we're just talking about unlocking them, getting him for Elsa is going to be absolutely essential. This is more for just the raid. Coming in at number 6, we've got Sally. Now, Jack was at 8, Sally is at 6, and I think Sally might have a chance to jump up even higher. Her basic gives herself turn meter, and Deadly Nightshade is able to remove turn meter. Really love that within the raid. That's great, especially giving herself turn meter really helps out a ton. Now, pumping out constant blinds and some good self-sustaining could put Sally a lot higher, but in other game modes and just in general, I don't think she's going to be worth your farming. I have Sally somewhat high. She's at the middle of the pack at 6. Want to see what she does more often. She's the only one I don't have at Gear 8 myself, but just looking at the ones above her, I don't see her mixing into that kind of fold, and she's falling a little bit below them on the Siege of Olympus raid. Coming at number 5 is the Queen of Hearts. Now, I got a lot to talk about. She's going to get her own video, and I'm going to spoil a little bit of tomorrow's video of breaking down the raid, but if you're not listening, pay attention now because there's a massive change that I want to talk about with the raid, guys. In the Forbidden Depths raid, when you attack a raid boss, they gain turn meter over and over by using any ability, and that makes it really hard to get some flow going. Y'all, with this new raid, it is not going to give turn meter to the bosses by attacking them, making all characters that can summon units a heck of a lot better. Previously, even someone like Frank the Tank, if he has Proxima out on the field, it's not doing all that great because it's feeding too much turn meter over to the raid boss. However, the Queen of Hearts with her new card system and the constant damage that they can pump out, along with her purging, is going to be pretty key. She'll be great within PvP, but the other thing I want to highlight is she has the ability with All Ways or My Ways to put silence for 1 turn on all opponents on the field. Now, 10% in PvP, not that big of a deal. It's guaranteed in the raids. And as we talked about earlier, you can destroy the minions on the field by inflicting silence. Silence is a very, very essential debuff within this raid, and that alone is going to bump her up easily to number 5 because she's got the mass silences and the good damage and the purging to back it up. At number 4, Oogie Boogie. And again, I mean, I've got to make character refresh videos, so I don't want to dive too much into these characters, but Oogie Boogie is Queen of Hearts. Now, where Queen of Hearts gets kind of hurt a ton is that the Queen has terrible stats, bad stats. Like, going back to her, I can go find her real quick. I mean, we just finished talking about it, but the Queen of Hearts, guys, has 18,000 health. That's going to she's going to die pretty quickly with that lack of health. Oogie Boogie, on the other hand, he's got, what does he have? 28,000 health, even more if you bump him up from here. Oogie was designed for this new raid. Now, hear me out. First, he has an ability, Frightened Shadow, that's going to go and give offense down to everybody on the field. It's going to put fear on everybody on the field. And then it's going to put silence in raids on everybody. So it's the Queen of Hearts plus a little bit more and survivability. And then Jack Sparrow and all of his fear doesn't matter because, frankly, Oogie does what Jack does, but better in 1 move and in 1 turn. Now, if that wasn't enough, Oogie Boogie's also going to be getting taunts and crit immunity with that 1 special. Just getting that out there, he can purge and do good damage with time to play. And in addition, every time he's hit, he's going to be able to cleanse up some harmful effects. Oogie Boogie is going to be such a reliable and solid tank within this new raid. And from this point on, you just want to look at your roster, right? And where people fit in. Oogie is going to give you a tank for villains and PvP. And if you're running mythicals already, which a lot of you guys are going to start to do that by investing in these characters, Oogie makes the perfect tank in all game modes, Club Conquest. You can't go wrong. I think he's going to be very solid. I'm excited to see what he does in the new raid. At number 3, we've got the Horned King. And the Horned King was ignored for so long, and I'm so excited that he's going to be solid in this raid. I have him a little bit higher than Oogie. I think they could probably be on the same page, but he does extra damage with every single attack that he does against raid bosses. He's got heal block, self-sustaining heals, and then his Cauldron, which is really something special. Used to do nothing, okay? And it was even worse because if you summoned it and you went against raid bosses, it just fed them turn meter, all right? But now, the great part about it is he's going to be able to have this Cauldron, and the sole purpose of that Cauldron is going to be reducing 20% turn meter every single time. That was his refresh. I'm sure I'm going to do a video talking about the Horned King some more. Very, very solid refresh for the Horned King. Great speed. And his passive gives him more speed with each and every mythical on the field. Horned King, I think, is going to deliver some amazing damage results. And if you're stuck on that Forbidden Depths raid, really solid in phase 2 as well. We are close to the end, and at number 2, we've got Merlin. Now, if you're deciding who to take to T8, I would say Horned King and Oogie is more important than Merlin. But Merlin was already one of the kings of the raids, right? He has amazing cleansing with Use Your Head. You can take that up and cleanse everybody out on the field. All those harmful effects. You can stun, you can reduce turn meter, and now, Ready or Not can also take magic. And like we talked about, sleep is going to be an important debuff. And on his basic, he has a guaranteed chance to sleep. So when in doubt and there's a minion about to go, you'll be able to sleep them and just get rid of them altogether. I think Merlin's going to be a key essential piece in the raid. His damage doesn't matter. His survivability is going to be important, but you don't have to get him up all too much. You'll need to get him to be required. But outside of that, Merlin is going to help you in all game modes. PvP, Club Conquest, the other raid. Merlin's amazing. And that's why he's at number 2. I think he fits the bill very well here. T7 for sure. And for those that don't already have him up there. And then T8. All in all, I think Merlin's going to be essential. And he's coming in at number 2. That leaves number 1. And we've already had a video all about him. I've got him on. I got my super suit on right here. My Frozone super suit. Frozone is bonkers. We've talked about it already. We've talked about it a lot. This guy is going to be the new raid king, and he's incredible in just other game modes. Frozone is the no doubt about it. If you can only go after one, he is the one you're going to want to farm for the game mode. 2 reasons why. First, he's amazing in PvP. Go check out the video that we made about him. Second, these are all mythicals. You're going to have extra downtown hero gear. Not really, but you'll have separate gear from them to level him up. Why is he amazing? Go check out the video, but his basic deals insane damage with every hit. Is cooler than cold. It deals, what is it, 16,000 damage with every single hit on top of that. Ice block, you can set up people for those burly bombs that we've talked about. And Snow Slow works really well in the raid as well, giving himself turn meter. Frozone has went from F tier to one of the best characters in the game and is going to help all squads out. Listen to me. Don't look at those old tier lists. Frozone is the one to get and he's the one to farm. He's going to help you out massively within the new raid. Now, Cozy Club, keep in mind both Horn King and Merlin are available in the tournament exchange, making them a very easy farm to at least get there on the star level. And altogether, they're not all too much harder farms. Olaf's going to be pretty easy to get. Frozone, you can dedicate grand energy to as well. And that's where you're going to want to focus on the most when it comes to getting these guys up and ready to go. My friends, I'm excited to jump into the raid on Monday. We're streaming it live on Twitch. If you haven't followed, I recommend to do so, guys. We're going to be streaming on Monday around 11, Wednesday, and Friday, testing them all out. And in addition, we're also going to test them out in the Ursula raid to see how they do there. Again, it's my commitment, guys, to find solid teams. If you have to put your resources in Frozone, in Merlin, in Horn King, in Oogie, we're going to find you teams that can definitely do the job in the raid. And that's my goal. If they're going to have us use these characters, let's try to do it the best. We have new, this game's all about having farming projects, and we got 8 new ones, right? I'm going to do my best and put the teams together, guys. We're going to be updating these videos like crazy. Tomorrow is going to be talking all about the raid and all the details of the Titans to get you guys ready for Monday. I'm excited to get more and more raid content out here, and just man, I'm pumped for the attack of the Titans on Olympus. My friends, thank you so much for watching today's video, supporting me as a creator through Patreon, Twitter follows, just hanging out on Twitch, everything in between. We've got a lot of content to pump out, and I'm excited to do so. Guys, have a beautiful day, and until next time, stay cozy.